The sun no longer sets on Nigerians. This is because Nigerians can now be found in virtually all nations and regions of the world. In Tall Drums, we bring you stories of Nigerians making remarkable contributions to the improvement of the human condition. Here is your host, Dr. Ugoji.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Tall Drums, a Nigerian-American television journal. On August 29, 2005, a nasty hurricane visited the state of Louisiana and the surrounding neighborhood. One of the hardest hit cities is New Orleans, variously referred to as the Crescent City or the Big Easy. One of the stories that has not been told yet is about the impact of the Katrina disaster on Nigerians who were working and or residing in that region at the time that Katrina hit. In this episode, we bring you some of their stories and some remarks by some Nigerians who were victims of the Katrina disaster.
Tall Drums is presented by Sungai Corporation, publishers and consultants.
What Katrina was?
Well, yes, it is one of the. It is the. Some people have described it as the greatest natural disaster that's faced America. Mm-hmm. So there's no. It came in. Is actually a hurricane, and we have what we call each year we have hurricane seasons, like we have rainy season back in Nigeria. Hurricane season that goes from like the June to December to November, June to November. Mm-hmm. And during that time period, you can expect to get tremendous hurricane, which is like tremendous wind and rain combined and just being highly destructive of lives and properties. And the experts track these hurricanes whenever it gets to us, coming across the Gulf. So in this particular case, there's this particular hurricane called Katrina, and they give them names so that we can identify which ones. And they start from A to Z. So in this case, we have the one that has the K, Katrina. And by the time it gets to come across the Gulf, gets to New Orleans, it has picked up a lot of power in terms of its wind strength and rain. Okay, and then devastated New Orleans. And even became more difficult, there was even more devastation because the levee broke. Again, for our audience back home, levee is like putting like a fence, like putting a fence around the house, around a home. Like when you go to like Victoria Island, you see all those fences around homes. Right. Like put a fence around New Orleans, because New Orleans is like in a bowl. It reminds me of Ikeja that sometimes flood. Right. After you have the overflow from Babbage. Right. That same thing. With the wind it broke down the fence, which you call levee. And so the waters just came rushing into the entire city, primarily the eastern part of the city, where we are right now.
I see.
You will be seeing in a few minutes some of our buildings that were devastated.
Right.
The western part of the city was not damaged by flood, but by winds. So they call that side the West Bank area.
Okay.
Yeah. As a result of that, we have a lot of people got killed, drowned, people were displaced. And we are still going through the experience of many of our people being displaced today.
And the original campus of Suno actually is abandoned, right? It's undergoing reconstruction.
Yes. As a matter of fact, it's undergoing reconstruction. Right. The state of Louisiana has identified an architect that they've asked us to take the lead on bringing us back. It was originally made up of 11 buildings. We've not been able to occupy any of the buildings yet. Right. But we are hoping that by January we should be looking at partially getting into the buildings.
Katrina, as a hurricane, how did that affect your family?
August 29, we experienced, I think it's worse than tsunami. But even then, I still sing praise to God. The fact that my husband, my 4 children, well, 5 actually, right, and myself, the fact that we're alive today is a special gift from God to me. Last year is in the past, is history, but today is a present and is a special gift. I cannot begin to recount the experience or what we've gone through just because of Katrina. But like my husband said earlier, our house is gone with everything in it. But fortunately, his business was intact. And he's been doing everything to restore it. And we're all grateful and we feel blessed that we're here today and we're not doing badly.
Now, as a community, in terms of the Nigerian community in the New Orleans area, was there any special help or support that came by way of community organizations or any other entity that is related to the Nigerian people at all that helped all of you get through the trauma of the Katrina?
Unfortunately, I must say, I have to be very honest, we were totally disappointed. The world responded to America, even though America is seen as a financial backbone of the world, but the world responded to America. And we, the Nigerian people in this community, we did not see that from our people in Nigeria and some of the organizations here in America. Individually, yes, but as an organization, I didn't see much of that. I know a few people did help their members of their organization, but it's not in its entirety. Not every organization that we know and belong and have sponsored and supported responded accordingly during this crisis, which was very, very disappointing.
I see. But your children are back in school now, hopefully, and things are returning back to some degree of normalcy?
To an extent, yes. But it still has its ups and downs. Like my husband said earlier, we have 2 homes now, one in Baton Rouge, one in New Orleans. He's here all by himself, which since he got married to me, he sadly ever come. He used to say that he's an expert cook, but since he got married to me, he seemed to forget how they chop onion or how they chop pepper. And now he's here in New Orleans by himself. He's, permit me to say, a workaholic. He will forget his breakfast, his lunch, his dinner. So I don't even know how he's doing it. But all the same, we're still thankful to God. My kids, or our kids rather, they are all in school in Baton Rouge. And it's not easy for me there either. You drop off, you pick up, you go to all kinds of extracurricular activities, sports, different kinds of games. But we're still coping. We're coping gradually.
You lived in the city of New Orleans yourself when the hurricane came.
Yes.
How did that affect you personally?
Well, we left on the 28th at 10 o'clock in the morning, and it took us almost 20 hours to get to Houston. A typical 6-hour drive took 20 hours.
The 28th of August last year.
28th of August.
2005.
2005.
Right.
And the lady came through on the 29th.
Right.
And basically devastated my office and my yard. We lost in excess of $300,000 worth of equipment at the office. Destroyed my house. But the most important thing is that we all went away, myself, my wife, my kids, my brothers, my sister and brothers-in-law, everybody left the city peacefully, and we're all safe.
So you were able to leave the city before Katrina hit?
Oh, very much so.
Okay.
Very much so.
Because not so many families had the same kind of luck. They didn't prepare or leave in time to be able to get away from the scene before it hit. How was it that your family did that as opposed to some others that didn't?
I can tell you what I do with my family. I have no opinion on whosoever that decided to stay.
Right.
The hurricane is not anything for anybody to joke with. When it became imminent that the lady was coming through New Orleans, I packed up my family in one vehicle and we left. And we left 3 other vehicles down here that were damaged by the hurricane anyway. But that's not the most important thing. I left with my family, and I always do leave. So actually, last year was not the first time the hurricane had actually looked towards New Orleans. I can say to you, for the last 5 years, we always leave for about 2 days or 3 days, but we always return.
Right.
But past year was horrible.
Right.
Yes.
And you haven't quite returned yet. A year after Katrina, you haven't quite fully returned to New
No,
Orleans.
indeed. No, indeed. No, indeed. The family is still in Houston. Some of the things that we were able to retrieve from the second floor of the house is still in storage. And yours truly has learned how to survive, that I'm even living in one room in my office.
Wow.
My new office, not the old one that was destroyed. Exactly. And we all may not fully come back to New Orleans for the next 2 or 3 years.
Tall Drums is presented by Sungai Corporation, publishers and consultants.
So essentially, you started your chancellorship with the odious task of trying to rebuild from Katrina.
Yes, sir.
And how has that been? And what are the challenges that you faced and you'll continue to face in the near future with respect to the rebuilding effort?
Well, I mean, one of the greatest challenges is bringing back our students and making sure that they get the academic excellence that they need in attaining their educational aspiration. Bottom line, we're about providing excellent education. We have to maintain that, and so my first task was to ensure that academic excellence is maintained by ensuring that we keep the right cadre of faculty members.
Right.
So we have to identify faculty members in different disciplines. We have to open up new disciplines and to address issues that now Katrina has presented to our community. You know, so we have to refocus our goal to now address the area of community needs.
Right.
I created a new division, like, you know, in many universities you have academic division, you got student division, you got finance. I came in, I created community outreach division that now allow this university to say, we want to be part of rebuilding this community because we're going to need it. As a result of that, we are beginning to make some inroads in terms of participating in addressing key issues for the city. This university is going to take the lead in the crime prevention summit that is taking place September 16.
Right.
We went to the city and said we want to participate in doing that, and we are now going through the process of getting that done. So we are not only looking at just academics anymore and student issues. Because of Katrina, we've increased our effort in helping to rebuild the city.
What's the recovery effort like since Katrina for you and for your family?
It's been really very slow, very, very slow, because we have been waiting for the government, the United States of American government, FEMA in particular, to tell us at what level the levees have been rebuilt. And right now the levees are still not completed. So people are still waiting to see how far they have gone with the levees. And also we are waiting to see how the current hurricane season will be like before we start coming back.
Oh, okay, so you haven't come back yet to New Orleans then?
No.
Okay.
I haven't.
All right. Now, as a community, even with the association you mentioned that you had, the National Association of Nigerian Women for Excellence, or any other community organizations that you may have been part of prior to Katrina, what has been the response from these organizations in terms of helping out as a community?
National Association for Nigerian Women for Excellence, we were all affected by hurricane, so nobody really can help anybody from that organization. However, the World Igbo Congress, under the able leadership of Ichie Onwuchekwa, was able to raise $10,000 for the Igbo affiliate of World Igbo of New Orleans, and they donated $10,000. And also the Consul General of Nigeria in Atlanta visited us in Baton Rouge. He called around about 10, 15 of us in a room, and we asked him questions, but at the end he donated $1,000 from his personal pocket, according to him, and we shared it. Each family got $50. But I have to give credit to the American government, FEMA in particular, although some people are saying FEMA hasn't done enough. I think FEMA tried its best. At least they came to our rescue. And also, we owe a lot to churches. A lot of American churches, Baptist churches, Catholic churches, they came to the rescue of New Orleanians. And we thank them for that. They provided us with food, money, clothing, anything we wanted at that particular moment, they provided for us. So we say thank you to the churches. They were the first responders.
You were in the city when the hurricane came?
Yes, I was in the city.
How did it affect you and your family?
Oh, it's horrible because we lost everything we had. We lived in a good home upstate. You know, most people coming from Nigeria, they visited and witnessed that. It was a struggle before we get there with children, but eventually the hurricane, it used to happen every year. So we'll go, it will not be serious. Maybe 2 days we'll come back. For that, we took it for granted. In fact, I only went out with the things I had in dryer because I had hope tomorrow will come back. So only some few things I use in the house that I had in dryer is what I put in a box. I'm probably the only person who had anything. My husband had only slippers and his t-shirt. But our kids, 5 of them were in Louisiana State University in Baton Rouge, so they were safe. And one was in medical school here in downtown. New Orleans.
Right.
So we called her. She brought her car. So all of us, only two, my husband and her and some friends, we gave ride. We moved to those who were already in school in Baton Rouge, because here is below sea level. But Baton Rouge, they didn't have much. They have little or no problem with Katrina.
Okay, so you lost your home.
We lost our home and everything we had. But what hurt me most is that I had all my kids here, and they don't understand our language. So I've been here 27 years. I've only visited Nigeria 2 times, 1984 when I lost my 2 parents, and 2000. So when I went to Nigeria, I collected a lot of books in our language, Igbo language, because my kids, it's unfortunate they don't understand my language. So, sometimes we create schools here and teaching them that language. So when I went to 2000, I bought Igbo books so I could teach them. So I lost all. Upon everything, I regret losing those books. I don't know whom to send, to get me those books. I'll teach them our language.
As a community, or what was the Nigerian community at the time, has any organizations or any institutions related to the Nigerian experience come to help in any way?
The only ones I know of is the World Igbo Congress sent to Nigerian community a sum of $10,000.
In the Nigerian community in New Orleans?
Yes, to Nigerian community. I mean, the World Igbo Congress to their members. Okay. But as far as sending to the whole of Nigerian community, we didn't get anything like that. Okay.
The World Igbo Congress sent to the affiliate that is in New Orleans?
They sent to Igbo Development Foundation, which is an affiliate of World Igbo Congress.
Okay.
Furthermore, we had some money from the old Olo Assembly. We had some money from them, so that was a great help. But that's about it. As far as getting help from the federal government or the state, it's in limbo. We haven't seen any.
Did the Nigerian embassy or consulate, there are 2 consulates in the U.S. and 1 embassy in Washington, D.C. Did any of those entities make any contact, as far as you know, with the Nigerians in New Orleans at the time?
Not as far as I know. Recently, of course, they told me the Nigerian consulate came to Houston. I just heard about it.
Okay.
But that was the first, the only time I heard that Nigeria was concerned about our people and came to Houston. I just wish the $1 million they gave they donated to America for the hurricane was given to our community here, because we didn't see any of it.
I see. Okay, but so what's the recovery effort now like for you? How is it going?
It has been tough. We've been trying to, since they pumped the water back to the ocean, we have contractors and ourselves, we've been cleaning the houses, and we are working on rebuilding. That's going to take a long time, but we are working on rebuilding and mainly coming back because our children are around. And as soon as they finish their schools, we'll be gone. I personally retired because of Katrina.
I see.
And because all of us were fired from our job, over 2,000 of us. So with that in mind, since I had the age and time, I decided to retire.
I see.
And since then, what I've been doing is just going home and trying to find out how we can move back home. Because I have the feeling that Katrina is a message.
Back home, you mean back to Nigeria?
To Nigeria.
I see.
Because to me, there's no place like home. I just feel like if we were at home, we wouldn't have got Katrina.
Toll Drums is presented by Sungai Corporation, publishers and consultants.
The last words for this episode is related to some of the issues raised by the Katrina disaster. Some of those issues include the issues of race and class in America. As has been reported in other media, the people who lived in black neighborhoods in the areas hit by Katrina were worse off than those who resided in white neighborhoods. Nigerians who resided in these areas invariably also resided in black neighborhoods. As such, our fate as black people and as African people in America were intertwined. Until next week, that's our show for this week. I'm Ugoji. I wish you peace, justice, and liberty. May you become all that you're destined to be.